Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I got to give a thank you to everyone, a shout out to all of you for supporting this channel. We have hit 9,000 subscribers over the weekend. Absolutely insane. I never thought I'd see something like that. And now, though, I'm like, man, I want to get to 10 really fast because 10, right? Like, there's a big number. We'll get into the five-figure numbers with 10,000. But that doesn't mean I don't absolutely appreciate the 9,000. Absolutely incredible. So obviously, the 19 cousins have been doing huge work getting 9,000 subscribers. So thank you very, very much. We, of course, now are going to talk about the Indiana Fever Atlanta Dream game that I'm sure many of you just watched. That's a huge win for Indiana for a number of reasons, not the least of which is creating a little separation between themselves and the Phoenix Mercury. They are now 2 games ahead of the Mercury with 4 games to go, and actually 3 games ahead of the Mercury because they hold the tiebreaker. So, knock on wood, barring a 4-game losing streak to end the season, and and Phoenix winning their Final Four, Indiana's just almost certainly have that securing that 6th spot, which it's looking like they will play Connecticut. That is probably most likely who they will play. It is possible to be Minnesota or the Aces, but most likely it's going to be Connecticut. Now, it was also a huge game for this young team to see how they would react to not only having their 5-game win streak snapped, which was really the best stretch of basketball that not just this team this year, but this organization has played in years, and then how it was snapped. I think we can all agree it was an ugly loss to the Minnesota Lynx. Yes, I think overall the Minnesota Lynx are a better team. If you had these two teams play right now, 10 straight games, I think the Lynx are going to win 7 of them. But it was still ugly. I think a lot of people almost would have felt better if it was just a straight up blowout from start to finish, and you just say, yeah, it's one of those games. It happens to all teams. It wasn't their night. But it was ugly. There were some concerns there that I think everyone had, and so they really wanted to see how are the Fever going to bounce back. And you have to add that to the fact that this is a big game for the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream, as you can see now, and as I'm recording this, the Chicago Sky are playing. So a little later tonight, maybe by the time you see this, Chicago and Atlanta will still be tied, or Chicago will have a full game lead on the Atlanta Dream, and I believe they currently own the tiebreak advantage as well. So this was a huge, huge game for Atlanta. And by the way, with Ryan Howard playing, who just lit it up tonight, I believe 36. We'll get to that in a second, but I think she had 36, might have been 34. I'm trying to remember, but it was 34, 36. She had mid-30s. She lit it up. But the Atlanta Dream is a much, much better team when she plays. She missed like 9 games. I think they lost 7 or 8 of them. They're almost a 500 team when Ryan Howard is playing. So Chicago would probably be out of it right now if Ryan Howard hadn't gotten hurt for a number of games. So, and look, it did not start out. We worried about how they would come out. And at the beginning of the game, it wasn't good. It was not a good start for the Fever. They got behind early. They didn't look good. They just didn't look like they were in the game. They eventually found their footing. Then they fell behind by 16. But they clawed their way back before we get to some of the box score and some of the highlights. Look, this is a huge win. It was a gut check for the team. I like overall how they responded to losing the way they did to the Lynx. I like how they responded to getting behind the way they did against the Atlanta Dream. So I'm not going to harp too much on negatives, but I do just kind of want to go through the problems I still see that they need to fix to take that next step. So where they've consistently have chances to win games against teams like the Lynx and the Aces and the Liberty. These are the types of things holding them back. Still very poor defensively overall in terms of their schemes and their team defense and their adjustments. I think that is very, very poor. I think that they're pretty decent individually as defenders, one on one. But for some reason, as a team, it falls apart. They're not so good, and it's a combination. I won't say it's a combination because I'm not sure, but it's a system problem. And whether it's a combination of a bad system and the players not understanding the system, or it's a bad system and the players are doing their best to execute it, but it's just a bad system, I'm not completely sure. But I think, as I did in the previous video, they make it very easy for other teams to get threes. I think they're focused too much on defending in the paint. They double when they shouldn't. They just a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it too deep in this right now. But just some examples. There was a really weird lack of a switch by Clark and Katie Lou Samuelson that should have happened, that got a wide open shot, and Temi came up, made a huge play, and got a block, and then scored at the other end. You know, they triple teamed on a post up, which made no sense. I think in that case, I think it was probably a player making a mistake, but it made it very easy for a backside bucket to happen. Um, I think offensively, again, the coach is going completely against what the team is best at doing. The coach wants to play really, really slow basketball, pound it into the paint all the time. There's lots of standing around. There's no flow or movement or nonstop movement to the offense. Way too often they go too deep into the shot clock. They're too reliant on Mitchell and Clark to create something out of nothing, which, by the way, also involves Aliyah Boston. The way Clark and Mitchell can create and draw defenders and then get the ball to Boston, but it's reliant on Mitchell and Clark with their ball skills to create something. And there's no doubt in my mind that the Fever are best when they get across half court in a second or two. Even Boston, Boston is much better getting the ball with a little movement at the top of the key, facing up and going to the basket, I think, than she is catching the ball in the paint. Now, look, when she's able to seal someone off and get really deep, and then catch a ridiculous pass from Clark right under the bucket, fantastic. But when she catches out a little higher and they double, a lot of trouble happens from that. So those were problems as well. Now, let's get into some of the other stuff, like most double doubles in franchise history now by Caitlin Clark with her 12th. Aliyah Boston was an absolute beast. Lexie Hull, despite what Ryan Howard did today, Lexie Hull was phenomenal defensively. She came up with huge shots again, without a doubt. I mean, we take a look at this. You've got Aliyah Boston was an absolute, excuse me, starting to lose my voice, monster today. Absolute monster. 30 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal and a block, 11 of 16. Mitchell had 21. She disappeared at times. To be fair, Clark had a slow start, so it was there were some off stretches for both of them. But overall, again, Mitchell 8 of 16. Again, a little off from three. I think what we're seeing is she was so on fire for so long that now I think she's taking some threes that she maybe shouldn't take. But that's, I mean, look, you'll figure out that balance. It wasn't her being a black hole and selfish. I just mean she took a couple threes that are, because she's been hitting so much. Because she's still hitting overall, right? 8 of 16. I mean, she shot phenomenally, but she was 2 of 7 for 3, which I think that's what she was last game as well, or the game before. But again, she's doing things like grabbing rebounds now. She had 4 rebounds. Also got a steal. I thought one on one, Kelsey Mitchell was very good defensively today, and that steal she had was phenomenal. It was on a backdoor cut that they were trying to get that she read and got her hand on her pass and corralled it. She had 21. Lexie Hull, absolutely phenomenal again today defensively. She's just lights out with her shooting. When you get her an open look since she's gotten regular minutes. Don't ask me why it took so long to get her regular minutes. 4 of 5 from three, grabbed 4 rebounds, couple assists, 12 points, played insane defense again today. She covers a lot of other stuff in that defensive scheme that they shouldn't be getting away with. And Clark, she had a stretch early. I don't think she was really playing well, but she got it going in the second half. Her shot was it was a little. She was 4 of 11 at one point from three, which I'll 100% take 4 of 11. But she started getting to the line a little bit and got fouled at the end too. So 8 of 8 from the line, 26 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds. Too many turnovers today. 9. I don't think they were all on her. I mean, they called that one backcourt one on her, which one Melissa Smith was not backcourt, but also two, when you know that's the offensive play that you're running, and you know they do that a lot with Aliyah Boston and Melissa Smith has to get her butt up above half court quicker, but it also was not a backcourt violation. Uh, and then what's crazy, speaking of Melissa Smith, now I praised her the last couple of games, but man, today, I mean, again, I'm not a huge fan of the plus minus for certain reasons, but like today, you could look at it because Fagbenle basically played for Melissa Smith. Now, she also played some other minutes that she took away from Dantas. Dantas only played 4. Samuelson only played 4. But look, you have all 4 starters except Melissa Smith have a plus. And Fagbenle coming in off the bench had a plus 21. But Melissa Smith had a minus 17 in 17 minutes. And by the way, I am going to put a little bit of that on sides because it's not just Boston that we're pounding into the paint. They're doing it with Smith as well. And it just really, really hurts the offense to play that slow nonsense in the paint. Mitchell hit some huge shots as well. But man, there was a great drive by Boston that Clark made possible. So let's run through some of these plays, and I think I have them at least in chronological order. I don't have everything I wanted to show for you, and of course, there may be the occasional one where you're expecting to see a replay and you're not because I wasn't allowed to show it. But this is early, and here's a couple things I want to show you. They called a travel on Clark on this, which I think you can't even really see it. They're saying I mean, she twisted that right foot. I think that's a terrible call. But the problem is it would have been a turnover anyway because, again, watch, we have no movement offensively, and a second defender collapses on Boston because we're trying to force the touches into the paint. And that would have been a turnover if it wasn't a travel. So I have that issue with that. But then later on, here's what we can get when there is a little movement, but again, it's so reliant on this case in Caitlin Clark. We get reliant on Kelsey Mitchell as well. But just great 1v1 play, kicks out, moves back out to get it. Oh, I'm going to drive, between the legs, step back, bucket. That's tough to stop, folks. That is really, really tough to stop when she's hitting that shot. And then second half, here we go. They're down 12 at this point, and it's not going well. I love that she had that 3, but she's like, I'm gonna get a bucket. Maybe I could draw a foul. And again, for those of you that say all she can do is shoot threes, she can get to the bucket. I think that's a really smart play. She passed up a 3 that more often than not that you want, but I can understand why she decided to take that to the bucket, see if she can get an easier opportunity because they're down 12. They need some points, maybe possibly draw a foul as well. I can't remember which this is. I had a note and now I'm not sure. This is either, no, I think this is one up top where she actually just gets it back from Boston. She almost loses it. And then, yeah, just great little movement because it's so hard. And this is why I can't stand how often they have Caitlin Clark standing still when she is off the ball, because she is a nightmare if you keep her moving, because she needs very, very little space to get off her shot. Similar to Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, that is one of the great things about both of them as guards is they need very, very little space to get off their shot, even from three. And I think this is another great example of that, if this is the one I'm thinking of. Now, finally, I want to say this before I even go. This is what I mean. Where is this more often? Now, it takes a long time to develop, which I get at times, and I can understand the players running that there are other options besides just waiting for Caitlin, because otherwise the defense just, okay, they're going to wait for Caitlin. But there's not enough of this in the half court offense, right? There's movement from everyone. That's the thing, right? There's movement from everyone. It went from Kels to Alyssa, Aliyah to Lexie Hull, moving down from the wing to up top, to Fagbenle coming across to post up, get the ball, and now it's going to come back with Caitlin off 2 picks, running full speed. Holy mother of all that is good and pure. Are you kidding me with that? I'm going to back it up a little. I hope this doesn't get blocked. I'm going to let this run through. Just appreciate it. Pay attention. I want to say shout out Christy Sides, except her half court offense is so awful 99% of the time that I can't even shout out this, because this is beautiful for a half court set. Every single player touched the ball. They're all involved. Multiple picks for Clark, which I've been asking for all year. Great little handoff by Temi. And oh my goodness, you're not going to stop that shot. You just can't do it. That right there is what needs to be done more often in the half court set. Because look, other things can come out of that. I mean, if they overplay, if they're thinking, oh, it's going to go to Caitlin, and the defender gets soft on Temi's back, and she can get her on her hip as she pivots inside and go right to the bucket, fantastic. Does Lexie Hull get that ball, come off, and have an easy shot herself? Great, take it. You've got multiple options. That's how it should look. Now, which one was that? Yeah, okay, because I have a few in sequence. All right, these are all in sequence. So this was 69. That made it 69-66, right? Or 69. Yeah, that I think that turns it up to 60. Yeah, 69-66. Okay, I almost got confused. Now it's 71-69. Right, they're closing it. And rebound, Boston quickly to Caitlin Clark. And folks, that is the easiest bucket in the world. By the way, that is why Kelsey Mitchell is shooting so well from 2. And I'm not taking away from Mitchell. I love what she recognizes in Caitlin Clark, and she uses her skill set to her own advantage by getting down there and beating everyone to the basket, because she knows Caitlin's going to get her that ball. That's exactly what you should be doing, picking up easy baskets. This hasn't been happening as much lately. This hasn't been happening. And I get defenses get back. I understand that. But they need to even be up tempo when they're not running full out fast breaks like this one. And so that made it 71. Wait, did they show the score yet? I think that's 70. That made it 71-71. Yeah. Okay. So that made it tied. So then Atlanta got a 3. So keep in mind what we're going for. Clark made that crazy 3 in the corner, gets the ball out to Mitchell. Atlanta scores. Here we go again. We've got the ball. Nope. This is tough. I mean, that's again, folks, for everyone who's saying all she's got is a 3, she doesn't have handles, she can't get to the bucket. That is as tough a shot as you're going to see a guard score. And that started all the way from the top. And because that you have to be at paying attention to everything now with her as a defender. She's the best passer in the league, so you sure as heck better be aware of that. But she can shoot that three from out top. She can cross you up and have you on ice skates, go to the basket. She can go to the basket and pull up and hit the foul shot now. She can shoot the floater. She can get all the way to the basket for a layup. She can get underneath, keep her dribble alive, and kick out to an open Lexie or Kelsey for an open three. And also that. She can do what she just did there. That is tough to stop. So now down two, down too late, folks. 25 seconds to go. 25 seconds to go. Keep it up. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. Fantastic by Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. Because again, and that's leading into this, that's why I wanted to emphasize so much in that last one what Caitlin Clark brings. Because this is set up by how much they have to pay attention to Caitlin Clark. But guess what happens when you pay so much attention to Caitlin Clark? You've got all stars like Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston. You've got players who can do that. And this is what I love about Aliyah Boston. I love this stuff about her game. I think Aliyah Boston getting the ball, like on the when we talked about the pick and rolls that they did more of in the early season, when Aliyah Boston gets the ball around the top of the key or foul line facing basket, and she can go to the hoop, that's when I think she's so effective. So much more so than having to go back to basket and post up underneath in a crowd. Think she's much more effective like this. And what that ball fake, fantastic ball fake, but they know, man, we better pay attention to Caitlin because there's no doubt they'll take an open three from Caitlin over a two any day. So boom, yep, they're expecting that handoff. The player guard in Boston shades to go get Caitlin and gives it up. Easy bucket. Nice finish with the left. Gotta love that. And then we're gonna, hey, let's start with the tip. Aliyah Boston's just gonna tip to Caitlin Clark. And we're going to go. We're going to get, nope, but I'm not going to use the pick. And there's the mid range jumper I'm talking about. She's going to drive hard. You had to be aware of the three out top. You had to be aware of the pick because of that. So you're leaning to get around the pick, and then Caitlin comes right back without using the pick, creates a little bit of space. Now she's got you going downhill on the dribble, so you better backpedal and worry about that layup. And she's just going to pull up, step up, and take the mid range jump shot. Absolutely ridiculous. And now, here we are a little later in overtime. I think this is the final one I've got for you. And this is, I believe, Temi makes this happen, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And again, folks, we'll back this one up. So much attention paid to Caitlin Clark, right? Better go. The other lady stayed with. No one's paying attention to Temi. And by the way, this is what I mean also with Aliyah Boston. When you get Aliyah Boston being that player, I mean, she really could have gone to the hoop. Now you might think, oh, I got to worry about traffic and Kelsey, but you could go to the hoop on this as well. And those are where I think bigs like Fagbenle and Boston are so effective is working an offense that allows them to catch it there and then go to the basket. But Temi decides to settle because she is wide open. Big three. They go up 96-94. And that's pretty much all she wrote at that point, folks. That is pretty much all she wrote. I don't have a lot for this one. I mean, it was weird. I think I went and tried to collect some clips from the first half, and there wasn't. I think I got the one. But look, they've got some big games coming up. This was a huge win for them. But again, I saw glimpses of how good they can be. And I think that's what makes it frustrating for some people who are really paying attention is you're past the point where it's like, oh, they're winning some games. Hey, they're going to make it into the playoffs, but hey, 8 of 12 teams do. To it's like, well, you know what? This team has a lot of talent. This team has a very high ceiling. So it's easy to get, and you can see what type of play style is most effective for them. So it gets really, really frustrating to see the coach try and keep that in check, to pull it back, to be like, no, we're not going to do what is our best. We're not going to play to all of our strengths. We're going to play the way I want us to play. And I see whenever I talk about this, there's somebody and maybe even a couple people at times who post in the comments like, yeah, go way back. Said this is the '80s Lakers with Magic Johnson, and oh my gosh, I want to said I think it was Paul Westphal, right? Who was coaching at the time, and he was adamant about playing a half court offense, even though you had Magic guys like Magic Johnson on your team, and it was a battle between Magic, the star point guard, and the head coach, and the head coach lost, and Pat Riley came in, and Showtime was born. And I'm feeling that way about this Fever team. This Fever team with the right coach, folks, for me, can average 95, 100 points a game next season. They need some changes. They're not deep enough. They need depth on this team. But you bring down this starting five, bring back the starting five, and you upgrade the bench, which, by the way, is another issue for me for the coach because Celeste Taylor has signed a regular contract for Phoenix. She's been playing well. In every chance opportunity she's gotten since the Fever cut her, Celeste Taylor has played well. I would love to have Celeste Taylor on this team coming off of the bench. These five right here, you bring back as their starters, and you upgrade the bench, and this team can average 95, 100 points next season. I'm going to leave it there, though. I want to finish on that positive note. Huge, huge win for the Fever. Huge games for Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. All right, really for the team, all five, but they had monster nights offensively. 26 points, 12 assists for Clark. 30 points, 13 rebounds for Boston. But again, isn't that what's crazy? Mitchell had another 20-point game, though, and it kind of gets lost in that 21 points. Lexie Hull was 4 for 5 for 3. 12 points, fantastic defense. Fagbenle was fantastic today, which is why she played 28 minutes. All right, now I really am going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts about the game in the comments below. How many wins, by the way, do you think they're going to end up with now that they're 19 and 17? They got 4 games to go. 2 of them are against the Aces. Do you think this team can get 3 or 4? How about 3 or 4 and they get to 22 wins? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, all that great stuff. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It really does help out so much, and I do appreciate it. And I will talk to all of you later. Oh my gosh, last thing, my Eagles won Friday night as well, so it has been a good weekend. All right, that's it. Talk to you later.